it may be, then they feel they did something, and they did. And it also shows, it gives in the mind of the distributor that the person voted. I took a class in economics once, and in the textbook, one of the first paragraphs I remember was about how money is called dollar votes in economy. Because it's just a piece of paper, but you're saying, I vote for this, I vote for that, by spending it in a certain way. So people vote with their money. So asking for donation, the way I ask for donations in general for Americans or others who are non-Indian, I say we don't sell this like in a bookstore. We just ask for a donation. Then I say we don't need the money. In fact, it's not even required, but it's an ancient system called dakshina. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it gives you the qualification to read the book, because it's not an ordinary book. And that's a very different thing than saying, you know, we're selling this. You can do that if you wish, and sometimes, and that can be effective also, but my presentation is explaining to them that the donation is for them, it's not for us. In other words, you do it, and sometimes I even say it's a penance. You do a penance and then you can actually appreciate the book. And we're not timid in explaining that because it's the truth. We don't really need the money. The money comes to us from Krishna from every direction. And it's not that we're selling these to collect something, but the donation is really about giving them an opportunity to engage in service. Regarding talking to Indians, which some of you have done before when you're selling books, right? If you walk up to an Indian and you show them the Bhagavad-gītā, they feel guilty because they know that their grandmother had memorized the Bhagavad-gītā. And their mother probably read it, and they've been really busy, and they haven't read the Bhagavad-gītā very much. But they feel they should, and if you hand them a Bhagavad-gītā, they'll naturally feel uncomfortable because they feel like this is my birthright. Why are you showing it to me? It feels like you're condescending to them and you're saying, where have you been all your life? And here's the Bhagavad-gītā. Or it's very presumptuous of us to present a Bhagavad-gītā to an Indian and say, here, take this, because they already know it. So here's what the way my presentation to Indians has evolved. I don't hand them anything. Not a card, not prasādam, and not a book, because as soon as you hand a card or prasādam, and especially a card, they'll say, great, I'll get in touch with you later. Don't hand out cards until after. In fact, don't hand out a book. Keep the book way away from their hands. And don't let them have it. So what I do is I greet them, and I'm friendly, and I make friends, asking where they're from, what part of India, and so forth. And the way to make friends with anyone, especially, is to appreciate where they're from. This is called Boma Ijadi. Ija means to worship. Boma means the person's birthplace. And so if I ask somebody where you're from, like, probably where are you from?
I'm from India.
Which part of India?
Hyderabad area.
Hyderabad. I love Hyderabad. I went to Hyderabad. We had a horse down there. And so there's a way in which now, just within 2 seconds, we have a connection because of Boma Ijadi. That's called B-I-D, bid. Say it.
Boma Ijadi.
You say it again?
Boma Ijadi.
Boma Ija. Ija means to worship. Boma Ijadi means to meditate and worship upon the homeland. That's B-I-D. Boma Ija. B-I-D means? Boma Ijadi. So, the way to make a connection, a heart-to-heart connection. Where are you from?
Seattle.
Seattle. I love Seattle. I've been there. Puget Sound. You've been there?
Well, I was born there.
I love that place. So because I love your homeland and I'm ready to do puja for it, then there's a sense of connection. So you don't have to be artificial. If somebody says, I'm from a place you don't know that much about, say, I've heard about that. That's a really beautiful place. Just appreciate their homeland. It's called what? Remember Boma Ijadi. That's your key to making a quick friendship with somebody. It's a psychological fact that everyone worships their homeland. If I'm walking around in Timbuktu and I meet somebody from Lafayette, California, I'll go, buddy, how you doing? You know, we're from the same hometown. It's just quite natural. If you hear somebody speaking your same dialect somewhere, it's like, wait a minute, are you from Orissa? Yeah, nearby. Which part? That neighborhood. Me too! Yay! You know, you're immediate friends. So if you want to get closer to people, remember Boma Ijadi. So for instance, if I meet an Indian and I'll say, where are you from? They go, India. And I'm like, duh. And then I say, which part of India? And they say, Bangalore. Bangalore, I used to live in Bangalore. West of Cord Road, right near Navrantakis. And they're like, wow, fantastic. So there's the friendship. And so with Indians, what I do is I first make friends, appreciate where they're from, and I say, this mantra, this is the second thing I need you to memorize after Boma Ijadi. And that is, please repeat after me, as you know better than me.
As you know better than me.
As you know better than me. As you know better than me. Actually, it's bad grammar, I should say. As you know better than I. That sounds a little, you know, but anyway. As you know better than I. As you know better than I. As you know better than I. Okay, so Prabhu, you tell me something, anything about the world, anything, but or engineering or whatever, but preface it by saying, you know, as you know better than I.
Job market is really bad.
You didn't do your assignment. Okay, you try.
As you know better than me, I lost my job, so job market is really bad.
Tell something about the world, Tell something about the world and start with, as you know better than I. Let's say the world's it's a stressful place. Start with, as you know better than I. The world is a stressful place. Stressful place. And so when we approach an Indian, or anybody else for that matter, but especially an Indian, because you're presenting something that they feel they should already know, preface it by saying what? Say it again. Say it again. And when I wake you up tonight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and say, make your presentation, it'll say? Start with that. And there's no number of times where that gets old. You can use it throughout your conversation with them to protect it. It's like a protective guard so that their ego doesn't get pinched. As you know better than I, as you know better than I, as you know better than I. There you go. So, I'm not handing an Indian everything. I've already appreciated, I've done Boma Ijadi. And now I say, as you know better than I, there are many problems in the world nowadays. And they can only be solved from a spiritual level. And as you know better than I, the Bhagavad-gītā is the most convincing and basic book of spiritual knowledge. It's the jewel of India. And now, because you already know all this, and that's another thing I tell Indians, that's the next thing. As you already know, and your mother knew all about Bhagavad-gītā. Your grandmother memorized Bhagavad-gītā. And you already know Bhagavad-gītā. So this is not for you. This is for the rest of the world. And as you know better than I, the world has many problems. They can only be solved from a spiritual level. And the Bhagavad-gītā is the greatest asset of India. So what we're doing is printing the Bhagavad-gītā in languages to make it available to people all over the world. We're printing it in German, Spanish, Mandarin, Japanese, and many other languages of the world. So that people can take advantage of the most important spiritual knowledge of India. So today, we're doing a fundraiser, and we're collecting money. And we're doing what's called madhukari. We're like little bees. We go to each flower, and we just take a little bit. And we use it to spread something you already know, but that people all over the world don't know. We just ask for a donation. Indians will immediately give then, 99% of the time. But if you hand them a Gita and say, here, take a Bhagavad-gītā, they'll say, I know Bhagavad-gītā, my mother read Bhagavad-gītā, my grandmother memorized Bhagavad-gītā, and I already know this. What you're doing is preemptively saying, you already know this is not for you. Your mother read Bhagavad-gītā, your grandmother memorized Bhagavad-gītā. And as you know better than I, there's problems all over the world that can be solved only from the spiritual platform. So this is not for you. But what we're doing is we're printing books in Mandarin, in Spanish, and German, and we're presenting this all over the world because this is the greatest asset and jewel of India. So what we're doing today is a fundraiser, and we're using it to start schools, to teach Bhagavad-gītā to people all over the world, and to print these books in many different languages, and we're just asking for money. What are we asking for?
Money.
What are we asking for?
Money.
What are we asking for?
Money.
That's something that an Indian will appreciate. And then they're very happy. They'll say, well, how do I pay? And it's Cash App, Venmo, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Zelle, Check Cash, generally like that. And then they'll just say how much. It's like, well, we try to keep it under $100, but in your case, we're thinking about making an exception. And, or whatever else you like to say when you're taking the donation. And that is how I guarantee you'll be successful in approaching Indians. Okay? So I need 2 people who feel comfortable standing up and just doing a little back and forth to show that they understood what I said. So one will be presenting to another and saying basically what I taught you, and the other one will be, without obstructing the person, trying to help them along, be the recipient of the Bhagavad-gītā. Who would like to do it? Need 2 volunteers. Raise your hands. Okay, you 2 come up. I'll get you next time. Come 2. Stand here. 1, 2. Now, what do you want to do? Present or receive?
I can present.
Okay, here you go. So let's say you're talking to an Indian. Let's say she's an Indian. Just relax. Take a deep breath. Both of you. Relax. And just try to say any of the things that I mentioned before. You don't have to get it in a straight line. Any of the information that I just put out there. First of all, before you even present, just tell us, turn around to the audience and say what the general idea of what I just said is to everybody.
So first,
Here,
first you're supposed
take this. Here, I'll hold the book for you. Go ahead.
First, you're supposed to do bhumi ijjani and respect their homeland. And then you're supposed to, because they're Indian, so their parents and stuff and grandparents probably already know the Bhagavad-gītā, so you're making it seem like the Bhagavad-gītā isn't for them. It's so that we're asking for money to give to other people of the world who don't know as much. And so you use as you already know, or you know better than me. And so you try to tell them as you know better than me, this is knowledge can only be, the world is full of miseries, and that it can only be alleviated on the spiritual platform. And as you know better than me, we have to give this to the other people of the world, and we're printing it in all these different languages. So all we ask for is money to help in this cause. We're taking little by little from every village.
Any other thoughts you have to add? What's your realization of what we're talking about? You say anything.
Well, you want to have a safety blanket, which you kind of mentioned. So that's why you always say, as you know better than I, because you don't want to pinch their egos. I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah. That is funny, isn't it? Everyone's got a delicate ego. Okay, so let's see how you present. Actually, you don't need to hold the book for now, because the book will be here on the book table, let's just say that. And you start by saying as much as you would to an Indian, and then it will go back the other way. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Here, we'll give you the mobile mic. Go for it.
Hi.
Hi.
Where are you from?
I'm from Gujarat.
Oh, what city?
You're doing great. Just keep going.
Oh my God, see, I have cousins over there. I visit there all the time.
Really? How interesting.
So, yeah, so it's a really beautiful town. I really love it.
I really love the weather there.
Yeah. Okay. So, as you already know, you already probably know the Bhagavad-gītā, as you already know. Your mom probably read it, your grandmother memorized it, and you already know it, so it's not for you.
Yeah, my great-grandmother practically wrote it.
Yeah, see, so this is obviously not for you. It's in your heart, you already got it. So, but other people aren't as fortunate. And we all know that this Bhagavad-gītā is the jewel of India. It should be in every house. And as you already know, the world is full of miseries and stress and anxiety. And although the people in India, like you, are fortunate, other people in the world who speak French, Spanish, Italian, German, Mandarin, they aren't as fortunate. And so we're trying to print these books in these other different languages and spread it across the world. And so we do this little by little, taking from each town we go to, each neighborhood, we try to take a little by little to support this cause. And so any money you would give would be appreciated, so we can give this to other people in the world. And as you already know, the spiritual knowledge is invaluable, and it would really benefit the other people of the world.
How much should I give?
How much do I need to give?
Well, we try to keep it under $100, but whatever you can give from your heart, it would be
I'm
appreciated.
generous, under $100.
Now you go.
So, same story.
Now you, same exact thing, just you say how you'd approach somebody from India.
Hi. Hi. Where are you from?
I'm from Karnataka.
Wow, how nice! I have a friend from Karnataka. She's a really great person. So, as you already know, this is the Bhagavad-gītā, and I know your grandmother's probably memorized the entire thing.
My son's reading it every day.
Yeah, exactly. So, I do about this. You're great. So, we distribute the Bhagavad-gītā all over the world in Mandarin, German, French, Italian, Spanish, and so basically what we do, we're like bees. We go out to every flower and collect a little bit of donations from everybody, and we use that to spread our pollen or our books all over the world. So we just ask for any little donation you can give, preferably under $100, but you can go over. You have a big heart.
You remembered everything so well, and the mood, the way you presented, was just stellar, absolutely stellar. Well done. And we can see that because it's a well thought out process, the psychology of it will work. Even if you don't get it perfect like they did. If you do it with the ideas that I gave you, I guarantee you'll be infinitely more successful in approaching Indians than trying to give them a Bhagavad-gītā directly and then preaching to them about it and saying, no, take it, take it, take it. After they give a donation, then you can give them all the books you want, including the Bhagavad-gītā, and they'll be so happy to receive it after they give the donation. I'm not saying in any of my presentations this is the only way to do it. There are exceptions to every rule, and there's also a way that other people do it different ways. I'm just saying this is a way I guarantee works. In fact, if you use my method exactly the way I said and people don't give a donation, I'll pay for the book myself. So that's Indians. Who has any questions before I go to the rest of the world and how to present a Bhagavad-gītā? Yes?
Sometimes with Indians we notice that they have another philosophy around Bhagavad-gītā, like, hey, this is what Krishna is saying, and so they have read it, but then they're slightly off track in comparison to what we are presenting it as.
That's only an issue if you're trying to sell the Bhagavad-gītā first. If it's just about the generic idea of spreading Bhagavad-gītā all over the world, that doesn't become an issue.
And also another thing is there are different subsections that teach Bhagavad-gītā, but again in a different way. Like there's a the Baptist devotees, and they also have a concept understanding.
Same thing, exact same question. Doesn't matter. When you present them with the generic idea that the world needs help, that India has the jewel, that we can help the world, and we're doing it in another language. This isn't for you. You're already telling me you've got it figured out. This is not for you. We're not talking about you. You already know everything. In fact, you know more than me. That's the psychological stance that you want to take with everybody that you meet. You already know more than I do. I'm just here. Who am I? And you know this, and that neutralizes the need they have to try to assert their philosophy and say ours is better than yours. You're already down. It's like, no, you already know this. No, absolutely. See, that proves you know the Bhagavad-gītā. It's more about helping the other people that are less fortunate than you, like you were just presenting. People who are less fortunate in the world because they don't have the Bhagavad-gītā. That's the main point. Okay?
Yes.
Any other questions? Yes? Yeah. Two more and then we'll move on. Go ahead, you're next.
Hare Krishna. So the question is, sometimes people say, I just noticed that they say like, hey, rather we can just like, word is trying from the hunger, what the books can do with that? Like, I just donate for some other cause, feeding the people, giving the blanket. So how are you going to do that?
Even in the Bible, Jesus said you could teach a person to fish, or you can feed them a fish. Which is better? He said, better teach them how to take care of themselves so they can be self-directing. It's universally accepted as the highest way to help people is help them help themselves. Don't make them more dependent on you. Okay?
Sometimes, Hare Krishna Guru, sometimes they say that, I'm not a reader, but I'd like to listen.
So have your wife read it to you. Anyway, it's not an issue because you're not asking them to read it. You're asking for donation. Try to understand, I'm only talking about Indians right now, and you're not asking them about their philosophy versus yours. You're not asking them whether they read it or not. We're not even giving them a book. We're just asking them to help other people who could benefit from the Bhagavad-gītā, and they are going to be the best philanthropists because you're telling them that you're helping other people, and it's not for you. You don't need this. You're already inoculated. You're already perfect. I'm down here on my knees. You're on the Vaiśeṣika, and my obeisances to you. That's how it goes. And then it's just a matter of the donation. By the way, about donations, you can say, when people say how much, you can say, listen, because this is going to be really important. There's no minimum, repeat after me. But more importantly, there's no maximum. There are witty things you can say to help make the situation of them giving a donation lighthearted. And that kind of opens up. So, sometimes people say, oh, I only, they're going to give cash, and they say, I only have a little bit. And I say, no problem. I'll give you change if you just have hundreds. I'll break one for you. Generally, most people give cards and Cash App and all that kind of stuff anyway. So you can ask for more if you like, and say, but there's no maximum, somebody just gave 500, so you do the best you can. Or you can say, some people give their whole lives, you do the best you can. Okay, so I'm going to move on from Indians. I think you got the point. Does everyone have the point? Yes. You sure? Yes. Okay, then I'm going to test somebody at random and ask you to get up and make sure that you can know how to present, and then we'll move on. Yes?
For Indians, sometimes there are Indian Christians also.
No, don't worry about it. These exceptions are not important right now. When we say sometimes, if it's 1 out of 20, 1 out of 50, we don't care. Let me start you with another principle that applies in all different kinds of book distribution. We're not going out to convince people. We're going out to select people. What are we going out to do?
Select people.
Are we trying to convince people?
No.
Or are we trying to select people? Select or convince?
Select.
Who wants to vote for select? How about convince? I just saved you a lot. You can thank me later. Because like a fruit picker, you're not going out to pull unripe fruits off the vine. Right? When you go to pick fruits, you look for the right fruit, the one that comes off in your hand. Pop quiz. You go to pick fruits. You find one that's stuck to the vine. It won't come off no matter how hard you pull, so you decide to break the branch. You drag the branch down the road, you put it in the trunk of your car for the sake of that one fruit. True? No, it's true, right? True. That's what you should do. Grab the branch, break it off, drag it home. I'm not convinced you think it's false. All right. Same thing, when you go out to meet people, it's much easier just to select people who are already open. And I'll give you a scale to work with. 1 to 10. 5 means they're not quite there yet, and anything below that means they're totally not into you. 5.1 and above, they start getting interested. So here's how you can tell. The first step in distributing a book to anybody is to make a conscious contact. To make a what?
Conscious contact.
The way to make a conscious contact is to look at their eyes. Try to look at somebody's eyes in here. I know it's scary. If you try it on the freeway when you're driving and you look at somebody and go, what? Because there's something that comes from our eyes. It's not electricity, it's consciousness, which is a very powerful energy. So what you'll notice is when you're out and about anywhere, if you notice people's eyes and you deliberately try to make a conscious contact with them, you'll find that they're somewhere on the spectrum of 1 to 10. 5.1 means they're barely qualified and almost ripe. They're just about there. And if you're really expert, maybe you can bring them over the line. But if you don't want to work so hard, just wait, let that person go, and wait till you get a 5.2, 5.3. 5.1, if I say hi to me.
Hi.
No, he's saying to me.
Hi.
Just watch how I react.
Hi.
What was I on the scale? No, 10 means they're totally into it. 1 means they're not into it. I was like a 5. A 5 means they don't smile. Okay, now we'll do 5.1. Do 5.1. No, do 5 again. Hi.
Hi.
5. Do 5. Say hi again.
Hi.
Smile but no teeth. That's no smile at all, like this, watch. That's a 5.1, like they're not into it that much, but they're trying to smile, but like faker. So 5.2, ready?
Hi.
Hi. 5.2. Now you can make an approach. If you want to save yourself a lot of mental consternation, be a selector and use my scale. You watch it and you see, when you say hi and you look at their eyes, if they go, you got a 5. You have full freedom to let them go based on Bhagavatam, Ishvare Taradineshu, Balisheshu Dusatsucha, Prema Maitri Kupopeksha, Yakaroti Samadhyama. The Madhyamadikari, the preacher, is supposed to be very selective. And that means that you go and you look to see, is somebody a 5.1 or above? And if they're not, the Shastra says, leave them alone. Don't chase them because you're going to make them more inimical. So look around for people and make a conscious contact. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, he looks like a 5.2. He just smiled, he showed his teeth, right? When you start getting up into 5.7, you'll say,
Hi.
hi, how are you? Where are you from? 6, 7, 8, like a 7, do you have, is that Bhagavad-gītā? Do you have that? Can I have that? I've been looking for that. You'll see, you're going to meet people like that. And I had a stretch when I lived in San Francisco, near the San Francisco airport, where I went out every day by myself. I had nobody else to go out with. And I made myself a chart, and it had 6 possible reactions people would have, and they were on a spectrum. And all I do every day is keep calling people from my booth. And then whatever reaction they give, I didn't care, because it was linear. I just mark it down on my sheet. And by the end of the day, it would always shake out the same. If I taught, there's 200 people, if I tried to make conscious contact with 200 people, it would always fall on the grid one way or another, because there's a certain number of people out there that are already 5s. There's some that are 2s. There's some that are 10s. And you just keep checking to see. You're just checking in. Are they open? Are they open? Are they open? Are they open? When you get a 5.2, then you do your presentation. Otherwise, don't waste your valuable time and get all disturbed that somebody rejected you. It's your fault because you went after a 5 or you went after a 5.1 when you weren't up for it. Okay? So, selection. First is conscious contact. Next is qualification. What's the next thing? If you just walk up to somebody and you jam a book at them, they're not sure why you're doing it, and therefore they reject it, because the confused mind usually says no. So here's how to qualify somebody. It's a universal process called Boma Ijidi. And it goes like this. You did it, but here's one little nuance to this whole thing. Before you ask them where they're from, because it can be kind of rude to come up and just say, where are you from? It's a little abrupt. So you go like this and it balances it out very well. You go, I'm from California. Where are you from?
I'm from Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore, the home of the Orioles. Catonsville, riots, whatever, you want to throw in. Any place you know something about, you can commiserate, you can appreciate, whatever it is, be tactful, not like that. And so there's a way that, you say where you're from first. That's polite. I'm from California. Where are you from? Then they say, then Boma Ijidi. Get out your incense, get out your lamp. The whole thing is like, da, 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 and appreciate where they're from. Now, that just happened to be the qualification for them to take a look at the book. So I say, California, where are you from?
Baltimore.
Baltimore, home of the Orioles. From California to, move a little closer, please. From California to Baltimore. We'll do it again. California, where are you from?
Baltimore.
Baltimore, home of the Orioles. Here, from California to Baltimore. California, where are you from?
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Baltimore. What a fantastic place. I got friends in Catonsville. Here, from California to Baltimore. So you see, there's a reason you're handing it over. You've made it clear that you're appreciating where they're from, and it's more about the body language, where you're saying, therefore, you get a book. Atato Brahma Jignasa. Therefore, you get a book. So that's the next stage. First is CC, conscious contact. Next is Boma Ijidi. The Boma Ijidi is their qualification to get a book in their hand. And now, the next part, when people get a book and they're not exactly sure what they're getting, there can be a little bit of consternation in their mind. So you can tell them a little bit about the book, what's in it for them, radio station WIIFM, what's in it for me, as you're handing it over. California, where are you from?
Baltimore.
Baltimore. I got friends in Catonsville. This is from California to Baltimore. Books on yoga, meditation, shows you how to get free from stress.
We have the slides also in case you want to show.
Oh, are they there?
Yes, we have it uploaded.
Okay.
want to share and things like that.
Do I have a clicker? Maybe it's in the bag.
I can do it for you if you let me know which slide you want to.
That's all right. She has a clicker, I think. If you have a...
I can probably put in this quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where would you like to
Is everyone good so far?
Yes.
Do you feel better equipped than when we started?
Yes.
Okay. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Thank you.
So please let me know which slide you want me to start at.
It'll say how to sell Bhagavad-gītā on its own merits way far along. I hope you're getting all this by speed learning. It's all going in subtly.
That's Purnima. I think we moved out of Bali.
Keep going, keep going. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. There, go back. Stop. There. Okay. Okay, just this is a review. How to distribute to Hindus. Don't hand them anything. Make friends. Ask where they're from. You know better than me. What world's problems can only be solved from the spiritual platform. We distribute in multiple languages. The best non-sectarian knowledge comes from the Gita. We're doing a fundraiser. We just ask for money. After they give it, and they do donation, give the books as a gift. And here's how to distribute Bhagavad-gītā on its own merit. Here's the steps. So the first one I call radar, which is a conscious contact. So, hi.
Hi.
California, where are you from?
Baltimore.
Baltimore. I got friends in Catonsville. A guy named Kesha. And this is from San Francisco to Baltimore. Books on yoga and meditation shows how to get free from stress. So what I just did then was number 1, number 2, number 3, which is that I'm handing the book over with a short explanation of what's in it for them. So please repeat after me. Books on yoga and meditation, that show you how to get free from stress. Okay, now he's got the book. And another basic principle is whoever's asking the questions is leading the conversation. Who's leading the conversation?
Who's asking questions?
The person who's telling everything is leading the conversation, right?
No.
Incorrect. The person who is?
Asking the question.
Yeah, so we ask a lot of questions. So as soon as I hand them the book, say books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from. You've heard of stress, right?
Yeah.
Really, because you don't look stressed.
Oh.
No, it's your smile. And don't mind me saying this, but you look spiritual. What's your secret?
I come here.
Wow, I knew you were into this. So now this is the next part. And this is where you put the person on the Vaiśeṣika, and you get down on your knees and you worship and appreciate them. And this is very important because tacitly, when we're going out to distribute books, what we're saying by our body language and our very presence is, you're messed up, I'm going to fix you. And that's why people resist it, because they're like, I'm fine, and I know better than anybody. What are you going to tell me? Who's going to tell me anything? I already know. I went to St. Mary's College, whatever. And so when we say to them, books on yoga and meditation shows how to get free from stress, you've heard of stress, right?
Yes.
Really, because you don't look stressed at all. So when you say to somebody, you don't look stressed, how do they feel? Suddenly not so stressed. If I see you in the morning time and I say, you look very tired, how do you feel?
Tired.
If I say to you early in the morning, I say, you look terrible, how do you feel? Terrible? You look in the mirror and go, what happened to me? I look like a monster. So when you say to people, you've heard of stress, they can say yes or no, it doesn't matter. If they say no, I've never heard of stress, I'm not stressed, and I say, I know, I can tell by looking at you, you don't look stressed at all. And now comes the next question, which is the most important, and if you don't take anything else away from this mini seminar today, please take this one question, because Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gauri Tai Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadraji Ki Jai. If you take this next question away from this seminar and you don't use anything else I told you, you'll still be successful. You want me to tell you?
Yes.
I don't think you want me to tell you.
Yes.
You're not that into it.
Yes.
All right. So the next question is, what's your secret? Turn to somebody and say, what's your secret? So what I've just told somebody, say, books on yoga and meditation shows how you get free from stress. You've heard of stress before, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't look stressed. And by the way, don't mind me telling you this, but you look spiritual. What's your secret? So turn to somebody next to you and say, you look, don't mind me saying this, but you look spiritual. What's your secret? I'm going to tell you again, so listen carefully. Don't mind me telling you this. You look spiritual. What's your secret? Turn to somebody and say that. Say it to Neela Madhava. So now how do you feel? Someone said, you look spiritual. If you can hear me, raise your hand. If you can hear me, say, shh. When somebody says to you, you look spiritual, how do you feel? No, spiritual. Just like if you say, you look tired, then it's oh yeah, I feel tired. If you say to somebody, you look spiritual, they suddenly become self-realized. It all goes through their mind process. They go, yeah, I fell down from the spiritual world. I'm in a material body. What am I doing all this time? Just by saying you look spiritual. And you'll notice the transformation, and people suddenly, even their body language, they'll expand a little bit. Their solar plexus will lift up. They'll kind of stand more like a yogi in mountain pose. And suddenly they feel spiritual. And you're already most of the way there in making the presentation on the book. And it's a personal interaction you're having with them, appreciating them. It's not about the book, it's not about you telling, it's about you appreciating them one-on-one, making conscious contact, finding the people that by nature's way are a little bit open, they're 5.2 and above, and now you're going to make them realize that they're not their body by saying you look spiritual. Okay? Everyone good so far?
Yes.
Okay, so I need 2 more volunteers. You two come up right here. Yeah, come up. You wanted to do it too? Oh, no? Okay. All right, just go through, this is the here, stand them that way because the deities are closed so we can see you horizontally. And then, no, back there. And now just do the first few things that you remember.
Hi. Hi. Where are you from?
No, I'm from, where are you from?
Oh, hi. Hi. I'm from Baltimore. Where are you from?
I'm from Nepal.
Oh, Nepal is so fun. There's so much fun.
Good, good.
um,
This is from Baltimore to Nepal.
From Baltimore to Nepal.
And what do you say when you hand it over? Take it back.
Oh,
Books on.
This is from Baltimore to Nepal. Books on yoga you get free from stress?
Now ask him a question. You've heard of stress, right?
You've heard of stress, right? Yeah.
Really?
Well, you don't look stressed. Really? Yeah.
In fact, don't mind me telling you this.
Don't mind me telling you this. You look spiritual. What's your secret? I eat a lot of prasādam.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, how are you? Hi. Where are you from? Oh,
I'm from
I'm from Nepal. Where are you from? Baltimore?
Baltimore. Fantastic.
This is a book from Nepal.
Baltimore, you got to do Bhumijadi. You can't just ask him. You have to appreciate. Get your puja paraphernalia out. If he says Baltimore, you got to say something about Baltimore that you appreciate. Okay, do it again.
Hello. Hi. I'm from Nepal. Where are you from? Baltimore. Wow, this is a really great place. Yeah. So this is a book from Nepal to Baltimore. It's all about
Books on
books on stress,
yoga and meditation
meditation
that show you
that show you how to release
get free from stress. Ask a question. You've heard of stress, right?
You have heard of stress, right?
You've heard of stress, right?
You've heard of stress, right? Yeah. Well, you don't look that stressed.
Oh, we need the extra mic.
Don't mind me asking this question, but are you spiritual? What's your secret?
No, not are you spiritual. You go like this. It's you're doing great, by the way. You say, don't mind me saying so. Don't mind, but you look spiritual.
You look spiritual.
Then ask the question.
What's your secret? I come here.
And then you can go like, I knew it.
I knew it.
Okay, give him a hand. Thank you. So that's the first part of the presentation. How do you feel about it so far, and do you have any questions? Yes. Here you go. I would like to bequeath this microphone to you.
So how you go from California to Baltimore, what if they're also from Baltimore? It doesn't sound as nice if you go from Baltimore to Baltimore.
Then what you do is you always get it more granular. Like if I'm in California, I say, if I'm in San Francisco, I'll say, San Francisco, where are you from? If they say San Francisco, I say, what part? And they'll say, I'm from Mission. Mission? I used to live on Valencia. So you categorize it like if you're far away or you're from way out of town and you know everybody else is from local, then it's California, where are you from? If you're more local, then it's like Catonsville, where are you from? And Catonsville, which street? So it just gets smaller. So you got to be a little adroit and kind of have, Boma EGD means you got to have a bit of on the ball, like, oh yeah, Catonsville, fine, what part do you live in? Yeah, that's over by that car dealership, right? That's fantastic. I like the people over there. Something like that. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Good question. What else? What other questions do you have about the presentation so far? Yes.
Door-to-door Sankirtan, we don't have option to reject anyone. So we have to approach everyone whoever is opening the door.
That's why I like door-to-door so much. But there is a way in which, they select you. So when you stand in front of the door and they look out the peephole, don't be lackadaisical outside. First of all, it's better, no tapping. It's better if you line up people outside the door. Generally, if they see families or they see women and kids, they'll generally open the door. So don't put your strongest looking guy in front of the peephole. And also, another thing about door to door is watch the peephole. You can't always do it now because people have the fancy electronic ones, but most people still have the other ones. And one of the little tricks is, if you focus, concentrate, and you just watch the peephole after you knock, you'll notice that it changes color when somebody's looking through. So you just keep staring at it. It takes a little concentration. And as soon as it changes color, you go like this. And they feel like you just saw them, so they're like, I may as well open the door. And then, we're from Catonsville, we're with a yoga group. Is this your place? And then, yeah, okay, great. This is from our group and we're showing these to everybody. It's like that. Okay? Any other question? Good so far? Okay, I'll go into the next part. Next part is to give a nutshell presentation. So what's happened up to this part is I've made a conscious contact, I've qualified them, I put the book in their hand, and I've made this sense of connection with them because they look spiritual. And once I acknowledge that they are spiritual, then what I do is I say, great, I'll show you really quick. Say, great, I'll show you really quick. Great. How fast are you showing them?
Really quick.
Really quick. Like somebody came up to me yesterday because they heard my other presentation and they wanted to talk to me on the way out the door, and with a smile they said, can I talk to you really quick? Because what that does is people are thinking, how long is this going to take? Is it a Bhagavatam class, or am I going to be here forever, and things like that? So then you tell them really quick, and now you do a short presentation. Let's see, you don't have to give me the book because it's here.
Okay.
First is radar. The radar is high, and then you're judging on a scale of 1 to 10. Next one is hand power. Your hand has a lot of power, so you say hi, hi. And then qualify. California, where are you from? And then trust the hand, you hand the book over with the mantras that I said. And next, books on yoga meditation. Next is, you've heard of stress before. Next is, really you don't look stressed, you look spiritual. What's your secret? Next is, take the book back. So I'm taking the book back because they look spiritual. I'm just going to show them what I know they're qualified for. And you name drop. So stand up here with your book and just point to the back of the book and verify that what I say is on the back of the book. Stand back there facing everybody. Back of the book. So name drop. You turn to the back of the book and you say, look, just point with your finger. Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, the Beatles, Tupac Shakur. Are they all on there?
It's only Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi.
Yeah, there's only 3 on there. It doesn't matter. Because all the people there that we're mentioning, they've read Bhagavad-gītā and appreciate it. So you're name dropping. Like name dropping, you meet somebody and say, yeah, I know the governor. Yeah, me and Bill Clinton go way back. So there's this thing, name dropping, and it's helping them build confidence that what they're getting is not fly by night. This is actually a solid thing. So Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, the Beatles, Tupac Shakur. It covers a wide spectrum of personalities from different cultures. Okay, now I open the book to the middle, like open it to some Sanskrit. See if you can find that, Kesha. And then you point to the Sanskrit and show that to them. Like point to the audience and point to the Sanskrit and say, can you read this?
Can you read this?
And I know you can all read it, but just say no.
No.
And say, I was just testing you. Actually, it's all translated into English.
I was just testing you. It's all translated into English.
And now turn to the first page in the book and say, this book, Bhagavad-gītā, has been translated over 400 times. Yeah, go ahead.
This book, Bhagavad-gītā, has been translated over 400 times.
And of all the translations, this is the most popular in universities.
This is the one most popular in the universities.
And now say the names of the universities that are on the first page at the bottom and the second page at the bottom.
Oh.
It looks like this.
Oh, University of South California and Georgetown University.
Yeah, those other names a lot of people have heard of, so you just mention those, okay? So name dropping's really quick. You just say Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi, Dr. Martin King Jr., Albert Einstein, the Beatles, Tupac Shakur. And then you turn to the Sanskrit and say, look, can you read this? And they'll go, no, I can't read it. And they say, oh, I'm just testing you. It's all translated in English, and it's been translated over 400 times because it's such a popular book. But this particular version has become the most popular in universities, and then you show these 2 universities. So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay, next is the quick presentation, turn to the changing bodies. And learn how to get there fast, because if you take too much time, they'll take off on you. And hold it up, and then you point to it and say, look, we start here, point to the baby.
Look, we start here.
And then point to the skeleton at the end. And we end up here.
And we end up here.
We're just passing through.
We're just passing through.
And then you can ask him, where are you in this?
Where are you in this?
Ask her, where are you in this?
Where are you in this?
Point to where you are.
Over there.
Right, okay. It gets them involved. Now turn to the next page. Yeah. And say, this shows a self-realized person.
This shows a self-realized person.
Self-realized person treats everybody with respect.
Self-realized person treats everyone with respect.
Because he or she
sees
the spirit within everyone's heart.
Sees the spirit in everyone's heart.
Okay? And the next one is, you've heard of karma, right?
You've heard of karma, right?
Have you heard of karma? Yes. Say yes.
Yes.
What does it mean to you?
What does it mean to you?
Watch my reaction. What does it mean to you? You've heard of karma, right?
Yes.
What does it mean to you?
When you do some good, good comes back.
Whoa. I really like the way you put things. If more people in the world thought like you, it would be a better place to live. You've heard of karma, right?
Yep.
What does it mean to you?
Same thing, what goes around that comes around.
Whoa. I really like how you put things. If more people in the world thought like you, it would be a better world to live in. You ask me. You've heard of karma,
You've heard
right?
of karma, right?
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
I don't know, there's like butterflies and rainbows, and it's just cosmic, man.
Whoa, that's a really good explanation.
And you could say, I really like the way you put things.
I really like the way you put
If
things.
more people in the world
If more people in the world
thought like you,
thought like you,
it'd be a better world to live in.
it'd be better world.
So this is an opportunity to reinforce the fact that they're still on the Vaiśeṣika, and that you're still bowing down and doing puja for them. If more people in the world, read it, thought like you, the world would be a better. So the next one, you say, what do you do professionally?
What do you do professionally?
Yeah, what do you do professionally?
I'm a banker.
A banker. And now you show this picture. Say, really? This guy used to be a banker.
This guy used to be a banker.
Anybody here a Sunday school teacher? Yes? What do you do professionally?
Teacher.
No, say Sunday school teacher.
Sunday school teacher.
And then you say,
Really? This guy was a Sunday school teacher.
so 50% of the people will laugh as soon as you tell them that, and the other 50% will say, really? And then you say, not really, I'm just kidding. And then they laugh. And just as they're laughing, say, ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
We don't sell this like in a bookstore.
We don't sell this like in a bookstore.
We just ask for a donation.
We just ask for donations.
We don't need the money.
We don't need the
It's an
money.
ancient tradition.
It's an
When you
ancient
give something in return for spiritual knowledge,
When you give something for return in spiritual knowledge,
it allows you to enter deeply within the book.
it allows you to enter deeply within the book.
So then they might ask you, how much should I give? And you can say something, thank you, give Keshav a hand. With shipping and storage, they cost us around 10. Anything you give over that is a donation. But more likely, if somebody doesn't immediately give a donation, they'll say, I don't have any money. Has anybody ever said that to you?
Yeah.
It's not true. So the reason they say it is important to know, because they're not sure how much to give. They don't know exactly how much books cost, except from what they bought in school, and they're really expensive textbooks, outrageously. It's a rip-off, actually. Sorry. And so they're thinking it's astronomically high, and they're thinking, I don't really want to give that much, perhaps. So they're thinking, I don't want to insult the person by giving them too little. So they'll just say, well, I really don't have any money, which translated means like, I don't have the kind of money that I want to give you right now, and I'm confused. I'm not sure how much to give. So oftentimes people say, I don't have any money, I don't care cash. And then you say, oh, we don't take cash. Whatever they say, like, I don't have, then you say, perfect, we don't take that. They say, I don't take cash, and it's like, yeah, we don't take cash. We take MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Cash App, Venmo, etc. And then you have it ready to accept it, and you bring that out. And 80% of the time, then people, oh, okay, no problem, I'll tap my card. And they can tap their card at that time. Just after they give a donation, then we say, do you believe in the power of prayer? Only 2 people want to say it?
You believe in the power of prayer.
And what if they say no? What do you say? That's right. What do you say for any objection somebody makes or any negative comeback? What do you say to them? Good, perfect. Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. So let's say, you believe in the power of prayer, and they say no, and then you say, perfect. We'll give you a mantra. You always honor what they object to. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really interested in it. Perfect. We're looking for people who, they really didn't have an interest in this right now. That's exactly what we're looking for. Or they say, I already give donations. I already gave. I say, I know. I can tell by looking at you. We saw you from down the street. You look, we were arguing about this. I was saying that person's probably one of the biggest donors who ever lived. Because it's on your face. It's the way you look. You're a generous person. What can we say? And so go with it. So then you say, believe in the power of prayer. Most people say yes. Say, great. I'll give you this beautiful prayer. And you show them a mantra card. You have one, right, for the temple? A card with the mantra on it. And they say, please repeat after me. Are you ready?
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Then you give them prasādam. If you have a lollipop, do you have lollipops today? Praying bell? Lollipops are bona fide. 1972. Bhakti Gopal saw the Salvation Army giving out candy canes for donations. So he went and got candy canes, and then some devotees complained to Prabhupada and said he's giving out boga. And then Prabhupada inquired a little further about what it was, and he said, what is the harm? It's in the database, in the database. He said, what is the harm? He said, in India all the time, pujaris buy simple sugar candies, they offer them to the deities, and they give it out, they distribute it as Mahaprasadam. He gave us permission to offer lollipops to the deities. So lollipops are something you can use because everyone in the universe likes lollipops, even monkeys. In Vrindavan, if you throw a lollipop to a monkey, they'll catch it and put it in their mouth before. You have to have slow motion camera to watch how fast they take the wrapper off, put it in their mouth. I once gave one to the Secretary of State of the United States of America, and he had it in his mouth before I could even tell him who I was. It was at the airport. I had a suit and tie on, but he just said, here's your lollipop, and he put it in his mouth as I was showing him the Bhagavad-gītā. He was going crunch, crunch, crunch. So lollipops are important. They're prasādam. We want to touch their heart with some prasādam. And then you thank them for taking their valuable time. Tell them it was an honor to meet them. And then also be ready with some kind of QR code or a form they can write on to get their name and number. If they're a nice person, if they're a seeker, you can connect them up to your next best place where the habitat is ripe for them. If they're non-Indian, you want to connect them to our experts who are teaching the non-Indians how to get assimilated into the practice of bhakti. You should always have a next place. Okay, final questions. Hare Krishna.
So if somebody doesn't want to make eye contact, they just pass by.
If somebody doesn't want to make an eye contact, this is a quiz for everybody now. Where are they on the scale of 1 to 10?
1.
Below 5, 0, 1, 2, 3. If they pretend you don't exist, where are they? Like a 0. You don't have to approach them. In fact, you're enjoined by Shastra not to approach them. Just saved you a lot of time. Be selective. Don't try to convince everybody. Don't chase people. Be detached. Let them come to you. Look for the 5.3s. If you want an easy day out there, just wait for the 6s. And just lean on the lamppost. And unless you find a 6, nah, I'm not talking to you. You didn't smile big enough. And then you'll get an aura about you where people are like, well, what do you got anyway? No, not for you, man. Next time, try to smile a little bigger, and we'll think about talking to you. You don't have to say that, but if you have that attitude, you're going to notice that you attract people more than getting all clingy and chasing them down the street. So, no, take it. I got to make my quota. That we have to be out there just to accept whatever Lord Chaitanya arranges. 3 more questions. Make them good. Yes.
Is there anything about how you, like how to be dressed during?
How to dress?
Yeah, like you should be in a Vaishnava attire when you're outside, or mingle with the local people there.
Dress in whatever gets you out the door, but make sure you look sharp. You should, whatever you feel comfortable in. Some people have a conundrum. They want to go out in public wearing Indian clothes. So then, because maybe your friend from school will see you, or your boss, and it's like, you're Hare Krishna? So if you want to wear pants and a shirt, or whatever kind of thing you like to wear, but just make sure it looks nice, because we don't want to get a reputation for being shabby. But the main thing is, if you feel comfortable in a particular dress, then do it. If you feel self-conscious in a certain dress, and it could be anything, whatever makes you feel self-conscious, then wear what makes you motivated to go out and feel comfortable out there. Because that's the main important thing. Lord Chaitanya only changed into sannyasi clothes because he wanted to attract people. He didn't care. It wasn't about the dress at all. So it's not really important. I find oftentimes an advantage to wearing a dhoti, an American shaved head dhoti, it sort of gives me a slight advantage, but I could go either way. I'm not attached to either side. And neither was Prabhupada. He actually gave permission. There was a whole event that happened because Bhaktidas, my godbrother, noticed that we were getting kicked out of a lot of places because they'd say, here comes the Hare Krishnas, ask him to leave. So he went to the Salvation Army with his traveling Sankirtan party. Salvation Army has used clothes. And they bought all kinds of used clothes, nice ones, and they put them on and they went out and they weren't getting asked to leave anymore. And they did 3 times as much as they were doing before. Meanwhile, another leader, this happened all the time, wrote to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, they're wearing hippie clothes. They weren't hippie clothes, they were just, And Prabhupada said, tell them to stop. And then the person who did it, Bhaktidas, wrote Prabhupada a letter and said, Prabhupada, we're only doing it in order to facilitate book distribution, and we've increased by 3 times when we did it. And Prabhupada said, go ahead and do it. And then he put a purport in his book saying, in the section of Maharaj Prataparudra, when he went, he was a king, but he dressed as a Vaishnav, which was really a switch of roles. And Prabhupada said, whatever it takes, that's what you wear. That's what he wrote in his purport. Okay, we get 2 more now, so make them good. Yes, Prabhu?
So, sometimes when out doing books,
sometimes before even getting out to do a book, it's like this daunting feeling of like, oh my God, like this is terrifying. I'm going to be rejected and all these things, it's going to be really painful to be out there. So what can you say about that,
Yeah, that's a really important point. Thanks for bringing it up. Don't go out to distribute books. That's the way to do it. Just go out to see what it feels like to go out. Because if you think, I'm going to go out and perform, and everyone's going to be watching me, and I have to remember all these things, don't do that. Like today, we're not going out to sell books. We're just going out to see what it feels like to walk out the door. And when you walk out the door into the great unknown, you can remember Prabhupada getting on a boat when he was 79 years old and going to a different country. How did he feel? Exhilarated. He's writing about it. Well, wow, I'm on this mission. I'm going for my spiritual master. Just do that. Don't worry about selling any books. In fact, today we forbid anybody to sell a book. We won't let you do it. We'll take some books with us, but don't touch them. And don't try to make a presentation to anybody. All we're going to do is go out to whatever spot we're going to and touch the pavement together, and we'll take a picture of us putting our right foot on the pavement and say, this is how we made it. And that's a really good way to get out the door. And if you feel like it later, if you feel different when you get out there and say like, wow, I like this environment and I actually feel a little enlivenment in my heart and I think I could do it, a little ragatmika bhakti's coming into your heart like, wow, this is spontaneous, go for it and try it and see what it feels like. But don't push yourself. You don't have to sell anything. You don't have to show that you learned anything. Just go watch, observe, feel what it feels like to be out there in the big world. So now we're going to go out, and we're not going to sell books. I don't want anybody to even try. Just we'll go out there, and the hardest part of it is getting out the door and seeing what it feels like, and also the transportation. That's the hardest part. So Prem Dham has thought about it and has some logistics for how we're going to do troop movement, and we'll just go out there and take a photo. We'll have some books out there in case anybody has a change of heart and you want to try it, but otherwise forbidden from distributing books. Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadraji ki jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vaishnava Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Vaiśeṣika Srinivadi Paschati Deshatarni. Yes? You better use the mic though.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for the presentation. I have one question that if somebody say that I already donated before, that how to convince that person?
Again, we're not convincing. We're just selecting people who are already open. But when someone says I already donated, then I say, I could tell. When we looked at you, you look like a person who's so generous, you're always giving. That's why we picked you out, especially.
Thank you.
Whatever they say, you agree with it and you make it part of their qualification. You see how that works?
What happens if they say that they already have the Bhagavad-gītā and they know it all?
You say, well, this one's not for you. It's for somebody else, to pass it forward, to give it to somebody who doesn't have it yet.
How do we remember the script?
For you, it's not a problem. We have at-a-glance cards, and we can distribute those. It has all the points on it, and you can carry it with you. In fact, if you want to, if at any time when you decide to distribute a book, and we don't want anybody to really feel compelled to do that, we're just going out and see what it feels like, then you can say, listen, I'm brand new, this is my first time, but I have this script, and I'd like you to hold it and make sure that I get all the points. And then they go through and they say, okay, now say this, now say that, and then when they get to the end, they now ask me for a donation, the donation part, and it's a very effective way. Just be real, and don't try to put on airs, just be very straightforward with people. This template's just for some suggestions. If you pick out one or two parts that you can remember, as I said, there's one thing, if you walk up to people, say, you look spiritual, what's your secret? You get to start there and say, yeah, we have these books, talks about yoga meditation, and it's not for sale. We just ask for donations to help people all over the world to have spiritual knowledge. That's like 3 sentences. So it's a template, there's a lot in it, takes a while to learn it, but you've got the feeling of it, and the main thing is you've got the basic principles. Don't give Indians books, and definitely don't give them your card. Wait till everything's done, then you can tell, but appreciate where they're from, and you know all the basic principles. The lines you can look at on the card or memorize as you go. Now we should really just experience what it's like to walk out the door. And we're only going...